Welcome to Everyday Heroes, a podcast designed to inspire you with stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things in business and in life. My name is Dominic Xiao, co-founder of EQ Strategist, a consultancy my wife Sue and I founded in 2006 to help create workplaces that inspire the very best out of the people that work there. I'm delighted to be a host in this podcast today. It features an interview I did with Matt Caruana, a 20-year-old, or should I say young, inspirational speaker from Sydney. Growing up in a great family with wonderful parents in the beautiful Hillshire of Sydney, Matt sadly fell into depression and harmful drugs in his teenage years. Age 16, the combustible combination of drugs and depression took him over the edge, and an attempted suicide left him paralyzed from the waist down. Today, Matt's a speaker who has and continues to inspire hundreds in schools and corporates in Australia and even overseas with his heartfelt and authentic journey, not just of recovery, but of prevention and living each day with purpose and energy. I do hope you take away lasting gems of hope, inspiration, and the power of presence and vulnerability from this interview.
The great Matt Caruana. Good afternoon to you, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Good afternoon to you as well. How are you going today?
I'm going great. It is just so wonderful to be reconnected with you, Matt. And I really want to thank you for your time and giving of your wisdom to this wonderful podcast that we call Everyday Heroes, designed to help people realize their highest potential from what already lies within them. And you and I met, I think, about a year ago, and we caught up about 4 weeks ago over a cafe, and I learned so much about you and your amazing story. And frankly, Matt, I kind of wish that I had the video recorder on because I think that you have such an amazing story that the world should hear about. And ever since then, I have been wanting to have this call with you, and I'm just grateful for your time today.
Thank you. No, it's truly an honor to be on here. So I thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Matt.
Very grateful.
Thank you. Matt, perhaps we can start off by learning a little bit more about you. Tell us about you and your, where you grew up and your background.
Yeah, so right now I'm 20 years old. So what I do is I'm a speaker and I'm a presenter on mental health, empowerment and overcoming adversity. The reason I do what I do is because I've had a lot of lived experience with those three things. My journey started pretty much when I was 12 years old. That's when I became depressed, anxious, and suicidal myself, which for me led to a lot of drugs. And ultimately, when I was 16 years old, I jumped off a building, which left me a paraplegic. And I was 16. And so my life was, I suppose, in a way, flipped upside down from being already like in quite low headspace to now being physically challenged in a way. It was quite an obstacle to face. And then however, I'm very fortunate. I had many turning points in my life which had led me to a place of fulfillment. And I'm currently 20 years old, like I said earlier, and I believe it's my mission to instruct, inspire, influence, and impact people's frame of mind for them to change their lives. And I'm very, very, very grateful to be in the position that I am.
You're such an inspiration, Matt. You know, I've had a pleasure of writing a book on resilience, and just your personal story is so inspiring, and I just wish for others to take away, I'm sure, your wisdom, your practical strategies and ideas on how you've overcome adversity, and to be a professional speaker at age 20, inspiring people. Wow, that is such a tremendous thing. And from what I've, from the times that we've met and from the energy that you're demonstrating today, what an epitome of resilience. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing of your story to this world. Matt, where did you grow up, if you don't mind? Maybe the audience would certainly love to learn a little bit more about your context and your background.
Yeah, I should give you some context. Yeah, so I grew up in Sydney, in the Hills District. I've been in the Hills all my life. I definitely grew up in a very fortunate circumstances. Like my upbringing was very, very good, I have to say.
Wonderful. Thank you. For someone who have a decent upbringing, living in one of the even better areas of Sydney, I guess some of the audience would be interested and curious to know what it was that perhaps took you to those darker moments of your life where you decided on a decision that was what you made that had such a huge impact on your life. Perhaps you could share with us some of the background on that so that we can learn from you.
Absolutely, yeah. So having quite a good upbringing, right? If you look at my life from the outside, nothing's wrong, right? So like me as a person, I'm very curious. I tend to ask a lot of questions, and when I was in year 7, right, I had a lot of friends. I had no family struggles, and I was decently good at sport. I was quite athletic. So from the outside, like I was looking pretty good, right? Nothing like could have been wrong. Being a curious person, I always asked questions, and I was like, one day, well, what's the meaning of my life? I remember having that question at 12 years old. I didn't know how to answer it, so that led to the question, well, if I was dead, would anything change around here? Like if I wasn't here? And then which led to the question, am I a valuable part to society? Now this is where it got heavy because I was 12 years old. I had no job. I lived at home with my parents, which meant for me I was taking up space, which then meant if I was gone and dead, nothing here would actually change.
Wow.
And ultimately, I labeled myself as worthless because my life meant nothing based on those questions. And so I then became severely depressed. And the thing was, no one in my life spoke about being upset. Everyone in my life, when they were upset, they kept it to themselves. They closed off, they'd look down. If they had a great day, they'd post about it, they'd share about it, they'd be proud, they'd have all this energy, but never when they were upset or down. So I adopted that because not only was it my family, but also my friend circles. I was someone who had quite a few friend groups, but none of them did that. So I did the exact same thing and kept it to myself.
Right.
And mental health wasn't something I was very aware of at the time as well. It wasn't as much awareness as there is now.
Right. So what I'm getting from you, Matt, is that you went through a period of time when through just asking certain questions again and again and again, what's the meaning of your life and all that kind of stuff. And the answers that you seem to crop up in your head was that made you feel perhaps less than worthy. And part of your coping strategies at that time would have been to not maybe talk about it or show it because I don't know, certainly in my culture, being the male in the family, Asian upbringing, it's not great to talk to others about things that worry you and you're meant to resolve it. But certainly what I'm hearing also is that perhaps you were putting on a brave front and a positive front, but the rest of the world may not have known of the challenges emotionally and mentally that you're going through. Is that a fair reflection of what you're going through at that stage, Matt?
Very correct. Yeah, representation of what I was going through. I felt like I couldn't share because no one else would, and I know like no one was sharing me like about that stuff. So firstly, I didn't want to. I didn't know how, and I didn't know it was the thing. So
right.
I thought the problems are in here. Let's keep them in here. Let's not make them bigger and spread it out onto other people.
Right.
That was my thinking at the time.
Right. Wonderful. So probably from today, looking back, I guess with the wisdom that you have, you might have been in a state of depression, perhaps. And were you aware of that? Were you aware consciously that you had a challenge, or did you just kind of, well, it's just part of life. It is what it is.
Well, I really dwelled on it, and then not long after having those thoughts and those questions, I started questioning suicide. Like if I'm not worthy, if I'm worthless, what am I doing here? Why take up space? And this space could be used for someone else who is worthy, who is worth it. And so, but I not long after also fell into drugs quite heavily. I used that as an escape route for myself. I thought that was my way to happiness because, hey, drugs made me feel great. So I was going to keep at it. And but I was also very unfulfilled as obviously, but then afterwards I was even lower than where I was before I started. But I was always chasing that high that I was getting. But so for about 8 months, I was my drug of choice was Coke, and I then met a girl whose name was Viv. She got me out of that. So at the end of year 8, I stopped Coke, but I was using other drugs, chasing that high. I then used other things to combat my mental health. Like I started an unhealthy obsession with the gym. Right. I was training and eating to the point of throwing up. I was pushing myself beyond my body could handle, and I was very insecure. No matter how big and how lean I was always after being the biggest guy around, and to everyone. Like it all came from a complete place of ego, but within, how do I say this, with a very insincere and ingenuine intention behind it all. It became unfulfilling, very unfulfilling.
Wow.
Like there was never enough. So I was always insecure.
Right. So up to that stage, you're in year 8, you've been doing this for a while and going through all of this. Did anyone ever perhaps come up to you and say, hey, Matt, you could do with some help?
Yeah. So the first person I told about all of this was Viv. She had caught me. She found out that I was using drugs, and she confronted me, gave me 2 options. I told her the truth of how I was feeling while I was using it. So she was the first person. But the first person that actually recommended support and help for me was my year coordinator. So I used to skip school. So it was about term 2 in year 9. I started just walking out of school. I didn't want to be there, but my year coordinator found out, and so she approached me. She's like, came out with your attendance. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't be skipping school. Because she called me, I told her the truth. I was like, look, miss, I don't want to be here. Like, I want to disappear. I don't know. I just feel like I fit in. I don't know what I'm doing here. And she said she has to punish me for what I've done. But right now, in that moment, what was more important was how I was feeling. And she really wanted me to see the school counselor. And the thing was, I could see she was genuine about it. Like, she was really present with me. She was there with me. She was really, I see she cared. And I didn't like talking, but I decided to do it. I gave it a crack. And that was the first support I got.
Wow.
For my injury.
Wow. Just someone who just genuinely cared and gave you the presence and the time and cared enough to support you through that, at least to come out and listen. What a wonderful person she is. Tell me, and what were the circumstances that led, clearly you were skipping school, you were unmotivated at that stage, you had this wonderful coordinator who cared and thought that you should seek help. What were the circumstances leading from that to your very fateful decision to make that, that decision to just jump off a building?
So, don't get me wrong, the people in my life were trying to support me. So, to give you an example, so when I got caught by my EQ coordinator, she actually said, I'm going to share everything you just told me to your parents. And so my dad actually came to me that afternoon and was like, Matt, I know you're going through all this. Like, let's talk. Let's go see the doctor. And I was like, no, it's not happening. Because I've been feeling like that for 2 years, and he never realized, he never gave me the time of day. And the only time he really wants to, I suppose, connect with me was when I was, how do I say, in a, in a bad place, but he didn't notice it, and someone else had to tell him. No, it didn't sit well with me. So Viv, my girlfriend at the time, she was also asking, hey, Matt, is everything okay? What's going on? You look like something's up. I always say, I'm tired. It's okay. Don't worry about it. And I told a couple of my friends in high school, but it was at the end of year 9 is when I decided I'm not telling a single person how I'm thinking thinking or feeling, because like I said earlier on, the thoughts and the feelings are in here. They're in here. Why am I projecting out to other people, making the problem bigger than it is? Let's solve it, Matt. Like, what happened to having a cup of concrete? Like, I already didn't like talking, so and it just felt like I should keep it to myself. And I was still smoking weed. I was doing other drugs here and there after that point. But then it was, I suppose, just a build-up of suppressing my emotions for that long that it just came out, I suppose.
Wow.
Well, like, I mean, I really felt like that was all I was destined for. I thought that was my answer to the 3 questions I had. What was the meaning of my life? If I was dead, would anything change? Am I a valuable part of society? I was worthless. So let's put an answer to those questions and finally I'd planned that for a year. How I was going to do it and all that. But yeah.
Right. You know, one of the things I've learned in my life is that the quality of your life is the quality of the meaning you give to it. And one of the things that helps us give meaning to life are the questions that we're programmed with. And it sounds like at that time you had questions that perhaps you're asking again and again and again that didn't necessarily empower you to be fulfilled and to be passionate, and instead it brought you to a challenging place. I do commiserate with that, and thank you so much for sharing and being so open with that. So I guess, you know, in that moment of depression, tell us more. You took that fateful decision that day, and then what happened next?
What happened next was 2 weeks later, I woke up in hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose I freaked out because half my body wasn't functioning. I couldn't feel my legs, my feet, couldn't move them. I couldn't even sit up. My abs weren't working at the time. I had all these tubes going through me, casts on both arms, boots on both legs, got a feeding tube, neck brace, everything, right? It was
Wow.
driving me crazy. I labeled myself as half a man because I could only use my top half now, and that bothered me. However, so Viv stuck with me. She was still with me, which really confused me. I got to say, like, I kept asking myself, right? Like, I felt worthless beforehand. I only wanted one thing in life. All I wanted was to end it all. The fact that I had failed, how pathetic am I now? And I'd never hated myself so much. But the thing was, I had all this resentment, hate, and frustration with myself. Why was she saying to me? Why did anyone care about me? Like, I couldn't comprehend it. It was, it really, how do I say it? Just confused me.
Wow. So getting up that day, it would have taken you to, it sounds like, an even more darker place in your life. Tell us, what was the turning point that snapped you out of it and moved you into the current path that you're in, you know, seemingly a life where you're using, you know, what's happened to the greater good and serving the world in a more positive way? What was the turning point for you?
Yeah, so I'll give you some more, do you mind if I give you a little bit of context too?
Sure, absolutely, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was in hospital still, and was in hospital. Everyone was, when I got on the spinal ward, everyone was asking me the exact same question, and it drove me nuts. So I was a baby now, I was 16 years old. Everyone in there was a lot older than me. They kept asking, Matt, you're so young, what happened? Complete strangers that I didn't even know in public. Why are you in the wheelchair? What happened to you? And even people that came and visited me in hospital. Like, hey, Matt, what happened? Everyone wanted to know that one question, and it drove me nuts. I hated it, right? I couldn't come to terms with the fact that I'd failed. I would only say, you know, I had an accident. The most I would ever say is I had a fall.
Right.
But then a week before I left hospital, now I've been begging my mum for months while I was in hospital, I want to get these 2 piercings on my eyebrow. Which she said yes. I was actually really excited for this day. We went out to Penrith to get the 2 piercings done, and I was actually genuinely happy. And halfway through the train trip back to the hospital, back to Royal North Shore, this guy comes on the train and just I'd never met the guy in my life. He just takes a step on before he even sits down, looks to his right. He's like, "What did you do to yourself?" Oh, geez. He's like, he was really quite loud, right? And I swear it was a mixture of how abrupt he was and how happy I was. I told him, "Oh, I attempted suicide." Give me a funny look. It's like, well, it's pretty fucking stupid, wasn't it? And I'm, jeez. He was really like, it was just like, whatever was on his mind just came at me. I'm like, whoa, geez. And it was the next day. I woke up in the morning and I had this sense of energy that I was like, I can't quite, I put into words. I never had felt that at the time. And I couldn't explain it. But this was the first time I went to my social worker willingly, not because I had to or because she chased me up. But I went to saw her. For me, that's a big thing. And I told her like what had happened to that guy on the train, how it made me feel, like how I'm feeling right now. And she's like, "Hey, Matt, like maybe there's something in that. You know, maybe opening up to that guy on the train, telling him what happened, just got things off your chest, made things a bit lighter. Like you said, you've been keeping it to yourself now for how long now? Like 4 months? Hey, Matt, just what if you were to open up to people close to you in life? Could you potentially strengthen the relationship you already have with them?"
Wow.
And like I said, I didn't like talking. It gave me like this, I don't know, ugly feeling inside. It just, and like my throat would just tighten up in a way. But she made a good point, that guy on the train. And so I decided, all right, let's start with Viv. Like if I'm going to talk to anyone, it's her. She's the closest person in my life at the time. I started being open with her, and our relationship grew so much closer. She was happier with me, and she trusted me more. And I'm thinking, wow, there's something in that, right? Like this is happening. So I then started talking to a couple of my friends for the first time in a long time. And then I swore I'll never do this, but I approached my parents. And because we never had a close connection beforehand, that was the thing. My parents and I, our relationship was very much like, it was a hierarchy in a way. And there was always that, because there's a hierarchy, there's always that separation. But with the separation, there's not much connection. So we were never close. But now I was starting to become closer to them. And that was really a nice feeling. I have to say it was, But, and then I had a support network around me, which was great. But don't get me wrong, it didn't answer my 3 questions. I still had that. I still felt worthless. But then it was the end of that year. It was November, December. I can't really remember. In 2016, I was asked by my social worker to come to the hospital for a meeting. And she offered me an opportunity. She was like, "Hey, Matt, we have this program at the hospital. And if you're open to it, you would share your story to about 30 students or so at a time. They're about the same age as you. I was 17 at the time. And hey, Matt, remember that guy on the train, how that made you feel? What if you were able to help others help you as well?"
Wow.
Like, I was like, yeah. And the thing is, right, so I really sat on it for a little bit because I was really unsure because I didn't like talking.
Wow.
But it was this feeling that came like straight from the heart. It was, and this thought that came at the exact same time. It said, "Hey, Matt, why don't you take a step?"
Wow. Why don't you take a step?
What if you could help someone? How would that feel, Matt? And before I said no, I said yes. And February 2017 was my first time sharing. I was so scared, didn't know what to say, didn't know what to do. I basically, the manager of the program was asking me questions to prompt me, to help me out. And that's how it came out. And afterwards I was shaking. I was like, what are they all thinking of me? Like, I just opened up my darkest secrets to complete strangers.
Yeah.
But they came up to me afterwards.
Wow.
And they said, "Matt, thank you for sharing." A lot of them said it inspired them. And some even said they wanted to help their friends. And I was, in a way, in disbelief.
Oh my goodness.
I was so embarrassed in myself. But in that moment, I had a flashback of my entire life, right? Of everything. And I was genuinely grateful for everything, because my dark past was now used to inspire someone else, to even help their friends. And that for me was massive. And so my perspective on talking about my story changed. And then I kept at it. And then I was like, hey, I want to speak to more than 30 people at a time, like at Royal North Shore Hospital. I want to go speak to schools. And so I started doing that in 2018. And then conferences, universities. And then when I was in Singapore, I got my first corporate opportunity, which was incredible.
Amazing. Amazing.
and 4 trimesters, which was amazing. I loved it. But the thing about it, right? I found what fulfilled me, which was speaking. I formed a mission that was to instruct, inspire, influence, and impact people's frame of mind for them to change their lives. And the thing about that mission is, it doesn't just have to be speaking. It can be, I can be mentoring. I could be playing an acting role and bringing a message forward. But the point is, I'm setting small goals along the way and doing them each and every day. That was I suppose the secret to, I suppose, it's not the secret. It's best just working towards what you love, what fulfills you. So matching what I love and valued with what I did every single day is what I believe the secret is to finding your purpose. It sounds so simple, but it almost sounds too good to be true.
Wow.
Right? But and I feel like one thing I wish more people had was a vision, a dream for themselves. And because it's powerful, because when you work towards that, you get excited about life. No, you don't dread your 4:30 alarm. No, you get excited about that, and you get yourself out of bed, because you get to achieve your mission, your goal, your purpose. And you get to inspire, well, for me, it's inspiring others, or for who else, it might be whatever. Right. And it doesn't have to be what I do. It can be anything, whether having a family is what's fulfilling to you. Working for your family, doing housework, whatever it may be. There's no right or wrong with any of this.
Right. Matt, thank you so much for sharing that. Such an inspiring story. You know, so much of your journey resonates with all the things that we've been through ourselves, and certainly all the difficult times that we've had in our lives when we face adversity. We always teach in our workshops that it's not the situations in your life that determine your results, but the actions that you take. And our actions are driven by how we feel, our emotions. And very often our emotions are determined by, you know, the meaning we give to life. And you know, I know that you and I are huge fans of Tony's work, Tony Robbins, and one of my favorite quotes of Tony is, "It's in the moments of your decision that your destiny is shaped." And clearly, you know, what I learned from your story, if I may share, is that you made certain decisions in your life when you were feeling what I would call disempowered, fear, worry, anxiety, and those decisions don't tend to serve us or people around us. But certainly, you know, when you felt loved and you felt inspired and you felt more courageous, you certainly made much more empowering decisions that today has shaped you to what you have become. And I really honor you for that, because it's well and good to feel better about life, but then to do something positive, to turn, you know, the challenges in our life and the adversities that we felt, can't change them, wish they didn't happen. We can't certainly be grateful for what happened, but certainly what you have shown us is that we can be grateful for the opportunities presented in that situation. And you are one who has just grasped it in your hands. And, you know, for you to go through that massive transformation of depression or fear or doubt or anxiety and low energy to where you are today, you know, to gratitude. I love that word, gratitude. That was so incredibly powerful. And I'm ever grateful for you being vulnerable and sharing that story. The people in your life did really make a massive difference to where you are today. You know, I heard 3 key moments. Obviously, that day when you made that decision and mom supported you in going out there to get that piercings. That was a moment of a great positivity for you. And then, you coming back and that wonderful guy on the train who didn't demonstrate empathy, sympathy rather, but he was
Sympathy.
empathetic, and he
Yeah.
was just kind of matter of fact about it. But your
I
courage in being genuine, I thought that was so powerful.
It really played a massive role in shaping who I was, how I was thinking, feeling, and acting. That played a massive role. And that's where my life has changed a lot, where the people I'm around now, they lift me up, they boost me. And I don't really, I do my absolute best to not be around people that bring me down and like lower my energy. Not everyone I hang around has to be more successful than me. I'm not saying that at all. People I surround myself with, I want them to inspire me. And if they don't particularly inspire me, I usually don't get anything from it, and I usually won't spend time with them, because even if someone wants to learn off me, I find it inspiring that they reached out to me and they want to learn off me. So I'm more than happy to spend time. I'm going to go off on a tangent now.
No, not at all, not at all. It's such a pearl of wisdom. I think choose your friends wisely. I think it was one very wise gentleman who said, look around the 5 people that you hang around most with, and in 5 years from now, I can tell what your future looks like. And certainly it's wise to be surrounding yourself with people who are just as energized and empowered and inspired as you are. If you had someone, a teenager, it could be anyone, everyone goes through lives of darkness, periods of darkness in one's life, when they're going through that. What's an advice you would give them to snap out of it before it gets, to that tipping point, if you like? What advice would you give them, someone who's going through a period of darkness in their life right now?
So I can't give any advice to particularly snap out of it, but I'm going to go on the extreme end of things. On someone on the edge of suicide, the first thing you can do is reach out to someone, because knowing that you're worthy of a support network of people's time is massive. I mean, like, that's why I'm a big believer in human connection and being real, right? Like, so often today we get caught up on our phones and all this stuff, right? And people's lives are busy, but I believe human connection is so key. Because I believe connection is the first step towards supporting someone. Absolutely. And so because people value that, someone in a dark place, I believe the best thing they can do is reach out to someone. And and the issue is around it. You hear it everywhere: reach out, ask, and we used to check up on people, but it's uncomfortable to talk about, and that's the thing. The issue is around this. If we don't address the issues at hand, we're not gonna get things any better. It's not going to progress at all. We need to address it like more openly, as a community, but as an individual, if you're in that dark place, it's reaching out, finding what fills your cup too. So like for example, let's say we start the day off on a fuel tank that's full, and as we go about our day, our fuel tank empties a little bit, although there are some things we do that refuels the tank. So maybe I could work and I don't know, going to the gym, or studying might be, using some of your fuel, your energy, but maybe like something like meditation, playing instruments, a shower, whatever it may be, that might refuel your tank. Finding what refills your tank, what fills your cup, is really quite important too, because to someone to be in a very, very low headspace, their energy is very low, their emotions are low.
Beautiful. And that's the irony, isn't it? Very often when your energy is low and your emotions are low, that's the time when you feel least like doing it. And yet it's so important to have that willpower to just do the things that, as you say, they're constructive. They fill your cup in a very positive way. But I just love what you have also shared with us, the courage to ask for help, it does take courage. And very often in our society, people are expected to put up a brave front and things are going well. But I always, one of my biggest breakthroughs personally about asking for help and not being shy about doing that is that, one of the things that fulfills us, and your story is a classic example of it, because I think that you're someone, if I may say, that seems to have a lot of fulfillment in your life because you feel worthy because you're making a difference to other people's lives. Would it be fair?
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely, and certainly, seeking help for me, life is a team sport. All of us have challenges in our life. Without the dark moments, very often we can't have the bright moments. But certainly in our dark moments, to seek help is really a way to contribute to other people as well, because other people feel great being able to contribute to you. And all of us have to lean on each other every now and then. I know that you would feel amazing if someone came up to you and say, "Hey, Matt, I could do with some of your advice." How would that make you feel?
That's my mission being fulfilled. I go on, like, I go from like anywhere to just here. My energy is boosted. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I just love that message that you're giving everyone. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of courage. And it's a sign of also contributing to other people, because you make other people feel worthy as well.
Exactly,
so that is such a powerful message. And also your powerful message about, take charge. If your energy is low, don't make decisions at that point. Not that will not serve you or the people around you, but do the constructive things that keep you at a high level of energy.
I just want to also add on to that. I suppose also look at the people in your life and just think like, who boosts my energy up the most, right?
Beautiful.
So because there are certain people that we're around that are like energize us and get us like rowdy, right? In a way, like because we tend to feed off other people's energy as human beings.
Yes.
And so you don't have to get into like one specific state. No, you just go to someone who will just boost your energy up, who in your life energizes you. In fact, that's also a powerful thing that a lot of people aren't aware of and don't even think about.
My friend, I think you also have a very important message and perhaps some wisdom to share among leaders, carers or parents, teachers perhaps. If you do see someone who may be going through what you had been going through, what advice would you give them? Perhaps one or two key snippets of wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, as I was speaking about earlier on, these whole stigma around mental health being uncomfortable to talk about, how it's taboo, breaking that and asking like how they're feeling, but how they really feeling. But when you're asking that question, be prepared to listen. Because, I say be prepared to listen, because listening in itself is very commonly overlooked and sounds like common sense, but it's really not. When you're with someone and you're and you're talking to them, like, okay, you're physically there, but is your physical presence there? Like, are you on your phone? Are you doing paperwork? Are you doing a job? No, is your body in tune with them? Then secondly, mentally, where is your focus and attention? Place it all on them. Don't be thinking, I've got that meeting at 3. I've got to do 3 invoices tonight. I've got to, cook dinner. What am I going to make? Blah, blah. No. Do your best to put all your attention and energy and awareness on that person.
Right.
Thirdly, I would be emotionally showing sympathy and empathy for whatever they're sharing, whether it be a great thing or it be something that's, a bit upsetting, like putting yourself in their shoes, understanding what they're going through is actually a lot if it is something upsetting, if it is a lot. That's me elaborating on listening, which is to sum it up, just be present with them, physically, mentally, emotionally, which is quite a hard thing to do for most people. And because Dominic, I'm sure if I asked you, like, when you're talking to someone and they're not listening, you would typically know, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. And someone who's talking to, let's say you were to open up something that's quite vulnerable, and you're already uncomfortable talking about it, and they're not listening. It's not going to go down well. And that's why I believe there's such power in presence, because I believe to support someone, the first step is connection. But the first step to connection is presence.
Yes.
That's what I believe it all stems from. And then from that, like after asking like how you're feeling, like is everything going okay, like anything on your mind, checking in. Don't be clingy. You obviously give them space, but yeah, really, just like genuinely care and be interested in how they're feeling. Yeah, I mean, not everything has to be upsetting either. Maybe they're having a great day. Checking up on that, like what happens today. Like, yeah, it doesn't have to be something upsetting, because if you're there only when they like upset or whatever, they might view you as someone who's just trying to, I don't know, like really reach in a way.
Wow.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Matt. Matt, that's such a beautiful reminder. So often I think of the power of being present. I think the greatest gift you can give to someone, as they always say, are not presents as in the things in our life, but your true presence. And so many of the people that we work with today, you know, whether it's staff, whether it's parents who have 2 jobs to fill, or managers who have got a million things on. And, you know, one of the key things that people tell us in corporates, and also parents that come to our workshops, they tell us is, I just don't have time. I struggle with that work-life balance. I struggle with engaging with my people. There's so much to do. And very often it's a reminder that it's the quality of that time that matters. You know, the greatest gift you can give someone is your time, but it's not just that time. I think it's beautiful that you're reminding us also of that need to be fully present, you know, mind, body, and soul, and not the mind drifting off somewhere else, but to give someone of that presence, to generally be there, to not be judgmental, to celebrate both things that are going well, and also generally sometimes just being a listening ear, because it sounds like through your journey, just you feeling like you're not judged and people who genuinely cared about you, and you talking through about your fears made you feel better, and that was part of your therapy about getting better. So creating those spaces, you know, that visibility, when managers talk about, oh, we need our managers to be more visible as leaders to their people. It's not just about showing your face, but genuinely being present and having an inquiring mind, and genuinely being there to want to know, to be curious, and to not know that you have to solve every problem, but just knowing that just by being a great listener, you're giving someone an utmost gift. Thank you for reminding me of that as well, because I do have the tendency sometimes of, you know, having a million things in my mind, but reminding
we all
me of
do, though.
the quality of that time. And especially today, you know, when we have all this stuff that's distracting us and beeping away, and the monkey brain is thinking about tomorrow and yesterday, and we're not just fully present in the moment, just like I'm so grateful that you are and have been with me for the past 45 minutes or so. Thank you so much, my dear friend. Such a powerful gift. And that is awesome. My friend, you seem so excited. Tell us, what are you most excited about looking ahead in the next year for you?
Next year, so I'm really, I'm just excited about my mission, to be honest. Like, that's just the main thing, just getting out there. Like being a young person myself, being 20 years old, I feel very passionate about speaking in high schools to young people, because I just understand the those who are struggling, the place they're in, and that I know they're struggling, and they probably don't see that there's another side to all this. Just being able to bring that to people, and like, because life gave me a second chance, right? The least I could do, and as a matter of fact, I have to do this, and I will do this.
Wow.
Give that second chance to other people.
You are such a blessing.
Is my mission. And not just high school, but I'm very excited. Next week, I'm actually going to Melbourne to speak at a conference.
Really?
My first time in Melbourne. I'm extremely excited. I can't wait.
Fantastic. Who will you be speaking to in that audience?
I believe it'll be, so there'll be all kinds of people. So there'll be people in the mental health field. So like there'll be psychologists, whether it be peer workers, counselors, like, who knows. Then there's also going to be people in the community in Melbourne. There's going to be some people there, I'm pretty sure, with lived experience as well from memory. It's going to be quite a diverse, diverse audience, which should be great. I'm really looking forward to it.
Wow, you are a living example of it's not how far you fall, it's how high you bounce that really matters. It's not what happens to you, it's what you decide to do in those moments. I thank you for choosing such a empowering path and moving ahead with positivity and grace and with love. I think that's what epitomizes you to me. Thank you so much for your time today, Matt. I know that many of our audience here would be itching to get in touch with you and reach out to you. How do they get to know more about you if they wanted to follow your work, Matt?
Yes, I mean, I have like Facebook and Instagram. Like Instagram
Okay.
is Matt Shares, MATT.
Oh, Matt shares. Okay.
Yeah, that's my Instagram. My what's it called? Facebook's just Matthew Caruana. I think about like my speaking page, like on Facebook and my Instagram. I like to also include my personal stuff because I don't want to put on two faces. Like this is who I am as a speaker and this is who I am in real life. No, this is who I am. Like so I'm just gonna post whatever heads up. My website is www.mattcaruana.com. So that's MATTCARUANA.com.
Yes.
That has a video on there. So on the homepage, if you scroll down a little bit, it actually has my story in a video format. It's a short video. It's I got that made end of last year. I love the video. It's actually not even completely finished. The music hasn't completely finished, but I love it that much. I had to get it out there as soon as I could. Yeah, I am very, very, very happy with that. But anyways, yeah, so that's how you guys can get in touch with me. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. Matt, the world is your oyster. I know that in spite of all the challenges you've been through, in fact, because of the challenges you've been through, you've been able to create new and more wonderful stories in your life. And this is benefiting not just yourself, but the people around you. I thank you so much for being so vulnerable and for being so raw and authentic for all of us. It has inspired me untold. And I'm just glad that I hopefully play a tiny little drop in getting your message out there to the world even more. This is not just for teenagers, but I think you have such a powerful message to share for everyone. Do keep up with your incredible energy. We are here to serve and journey with you. Know that it will be the greatest honor if anytime you need to have a little bit of a chat and we can in our own way serve you and help you in your journey. Know that we'll always be here for you. I know that and hope that this will not be the last interview we do together. I do look forward to catching up with you. I know that many of our wonderful listeners here will look forward to the next phase and to learn more about that amazing journey, no doubt, that you continue to be in. I look forward to also reading your book one day, my friend. There's an absolute book in you, and
that is going to happen in the future. I have put it off for quite a while. I said to myself, last year I was going to do it, but I didn't end up doing it. But yes, I will definitely do that one day. It is going to come out. I'm going to get to it.
Okay, Matt. You absolutely
Thank you,
my
Dominic.
friend. Thank you, brother.
It's been an honor. I'm very
Take
grateful.
care. Keep being the shiny, authentic leader that you are. You absolutely rock.
Thank you, Dom.
Cheers, mate.